Hi, welcome to Landed, a new agri-info show that will be dedicated to sharing stories, educating, and also informed by inspiring stories from those who are heavily influenced and are living a lifestyle in agriculture. We're also going to be talking to a guy named Thabo. He's basically living a life that is self-sufficient by working his field in his very own garden. We're actually at his house, right? And we'll be telling and having a conversation with him with regards to permaculture. Permaculture, you ask? Well, he's going to be telling us more about that. He's basically living a life that is self-sufficient by working his field in his very own garden. Bagaithu, arzamai. How does a white person end up being named Thabo?
I also took my mother on about that because, in Bloemfontein, if you say your name is Thabo, you hear people say Baka Thabo.
Yeah.
Then you don't know if it's Thabo Mbeki or Thabo Manyoni or Thabo Olivier.
Yeah.
And I wanted a nice name. Like my brother's name is Bereng.
Bereng?
Yes. One of the great monarchs of the Basotho people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now they call me Happiness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but in African culture, you don't choose your own name, né?
Yeah,
it's given to you.
It's given to you. So were you given the name?
Yes, I was given the name. I was actually, my first language I could speak was Sesotho.
Oh, wow.
I was taught English just before going to school. And that's when I found out that my name's in my ID are Gerardus Johannes Olivier. But till today, everybody knows, the same thing that happens to me. Until today, everybody knows me as Thabo. So when somebody says to me, Gerardus Johannes Olivier on the telephone, I know they're trying to sell me insurance.
Oh, wow.
Because they got me off a database somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's talk about what you do. We call it permaculture. Anybody who's in the industry or who is studying agriculture knows what permaculture is. But now I want to hear from your view, what you think permaculture is, and actually how you started in it, because your story, in my opinion, needs to be told so that it can inspire other people out there. So let's talk about what you do in your home, in your own comfort, and how long you've been doing it.
When it comes to permaculture, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to speak out of the house. Okay, no, but jokes aside, I was a ward councillor elected for the Mangaung CBD in 2006. And in the ward, there was one of the oldest informal settlements, Makutoko informal settlement.
Yeah.
And due purely to frustration of trying to get it formalized, I then eventually resorted to moving into the squatter camp.
Oh.
And won't believe it, in 87 days, something that took 20 years to do.
Wow.
That they couldn't do. In 87 days, I was evicted because they then formalized and they were putting out the pegs to start building the RDP houses.
Are you serious?
Yes, no, it worked, but I won't do it again. Never, ever, ever move into a squatter camp.
Okay, and then from there?
Yes, and then when the houses were built and the community invited me to come and have a look, they were complaining about hunger. And I said, but grow your own food.
Yeah.
And they said, no, but they don't know how. And I thought, but it can't be that difficult. So then I started experimenting here in Bayswater where I live and built a house there out of 574 motorcar tires, started growing, looking for the cheapest way. And I follow the principles of reuse, reduce, recycle, and repurpose. If you've got no money and you don't even get a grant, you should be able to grow food.
Yeah.
And I started experimenting with that, and that's why you can see, I'm even growing my seedlings in eggs. And you can use little cups like this, or bottles, or whatever you want.
So you basically started using what you had to start whatever it is that you're doing today.
People laugh when I say my favorite shopping area is the landfill site. People throw things away. They'll say they can't afford a pot to grow tomatoes of 300 rand.
Yeah.
But they throw a bucket, a 20-litre bucket that's got a crack in, they throw it away. But that's ideal. It's already got the crack to drain the excess water.
Wow.
So things that people throw away, I use. And I find all of that, even this deep freeze here behind. And I'll show you just now when I open it. Inside it, I'm growing my seedlings. When the outside temperature is -7, my seeds are germinating and thriving. It's somebody threw this away. I sealed it up, and I've got repurposed material inside, and the humidity runs at 80%, and the temperature is between 22 and 30 degrees. So in the middle of the freeze that winter at -7, -8, I'm growing my seedlings so that when I plant my vegetable garden in September, I will be planting it on Heritage Day, 24th of September, and I'll be harvesting the day after.
I'm really interested in seeing how that's going to work. But now, before we get into, everything else, the
Yes.
plants and the preserving and all of
Yeah.
that, I want to know, for somebody who's now not so sure where to start, because now you said you can literally start with any resource that you've got.
Yes.
Né? I want to know, where can I start as somebody who has resources around me, but I don't really know what to do?
Yes.
I want you now to just explain to me the process of it. Say I have a 2-liter bottle,
Yes.
and I come to you and I say, Thabo, I've got a 2-liter bottle. Please help me with this. How would you go about just schooling me in that and guiding me in it?
If you want to grow something in a 2-liter bottle, and I'm sure if I ask Lucky Boy just to fetch my little 2-liter
Yeah.
bottle out of if you can fetch it for me.
Yeah.
What you do is people will phone me in September and say, it's spring, let's start growing vegetables. You've arrived too late. Matthew 25 verse 1 to 14, the 10 virgins. Half of them were prepared. And you prepare in winter. You prepare your soil. I'll show you just now when we do a walkabout of how I prepare my soil. I then also grow my seedlings. And I use waste material to grow my seedlings. So I would say if you want to start in winter, just even this 1 meter by 1 meter, go prepare some soil. The leaves that fell in autumn, work them into the soil. If you get a little bit of manure somewhere, put that in. Make your soil fertile. And then once the soil is there, the moment the temperature is right, and it's very simple, just look at what God shows you. Once He sent the rain, or you see the plants start blossoming, then God's saying to you, this is the time to plant. Then you can plant. Don't start off where I am now, because this is 10 years of experience.
Yeah.
So going with all the ponics and the ecologies,
Yeah.
the hydroponics, aquaponics, horticulture, all that type of stuff. No, what I do is I grow veg.
Okay.
And I take seed, put in soil, and let it grow.
So I've got a 2-liter bottle
Yes.
with that one there.
Yeah.
And then you basically fill it up with soil. And then what are these holes for? Because somebody will ask, okay,
Yeah.
I've got a 2-liter bottle. You said I should start with that. I've got the soil. I've put in the leaves. I've got some manure in. Now, how is my plant going to breathe? How is it all going
In
to
the
work
footage, when you post production, you'll see photos of what I've done with bottles. But this is an idea. This is the middle of winter. I mean, we're still in July.
Yeah.
And these are my Sudanese chilies that are growing already because I've got them in a controlled environment, biosphere growing. And I took the bottle, drilled a few holes at the bottom, put some gravel at the bottom, and
Yeah.
then put some soil. And then I had these holes made, and you top it up. And then the moment I got to this level, I took my seedlings, put them in, and kept on throwing in soil. So the seedlings were out like that only for 2 days, because then they started looking for the sun and they started growing up.
Oh, wow.
And I've already harvested from this. This is now what was left over in March.
Yeah.
And they went dormant and they died. You can see it's all dry up here.
Yeah.
But they're rejuvenating again. And this is basically it. So I want to be able to harvest some of my chilies when other people's plants are still this size.
Yeah.
Mine will be having fruit already.
Let's talk about the seed. I see
Yes.
you've got some samples here. Where
Yes.
does one get stuff like this? Because
In any supermarket. You can get them in the supermarket, and if you've got collectives working together, you can buy them in bulk by the seed suppliers. Seed, this amount of spinach seed, if you had to buy it from a supermarket, a packet like this would cost you about 36 Rand. But if you buy in a collective and buy a kilogram of the seed and divide it amongst, it should come down to about 10 Rand. And the beauty of this is spinach seed. If you plant this 10 Rand spinach seed, you would be able to harvest 20 Rand spinach per day for a whole year.
Wow.
So this 10 Rand turns into 7,200. Now, Telkom shares doesn't do that. Bitcoin doesn't do that. Nothing does that. This is it. And I'll go even one better. Yeah, if I give you this one pumpkin seed, do you believe me that you can become a billionaire? Yes, you do.
I want to. I want to
Here's
become
one
a
pumpkin
billionaire.
seed. Take
Yeah.
this one.
Okay.
And in the footage, you will see how that one pumpkin seed turns into billions of pumpkins.
This pumpkin.
In 6 years. In 6 years. Yes. Don't wait for a leader or a councillor or a politician or a muruti. Wait for yourself. And if you've got patience, you can wait for yourself. Just do it for yourself. Grow it. And when you start growing, nobody's going to stop you.
I can see you're trying to get me to think now outside of the box. So now let's talk about this seed, taking it to the soil. I see you've got some eggshells over there.
Yes.
And I know that obviously you prepare your own soil and you're basically self-sufficient. But now I want to talk from the seed to taking it to the bottle. Sometimes not even in the bottle. I want to talk now about the eggshells.
Now,
What do you do with the
You've got
eggshells?
seed trays, and I've got examples of seed trays here. Yeah, you've got little seed holders, and they come in a tray, and you've got the foam seed trays. Some people say they don't have the money for it, and I said, but do you eat eggs? Yes. Okay, well, then you can take an egg, and once you've eaten out the egg, the soft-boiled egg, or you've just poured the yolk out to make scrambled eggs, and you've crowned it, you just put a hole at the bottom, take some normal soil, put soil in, take that seed, and even if you don't have eggs, after a sports event, these things are lying all over. My son and I, we go to collect them, and you take that seed, and the pointy part, point it down.
This side. All right.
And look, a pumpkin seed, you wouldn't grow in this because it's going to get too big.
Yeah.
And even this is maybe too small.
Yeah.
You need one of those nice big 500 ml cups to plant that in. And just plant it in, you will see it will germinate, it will grow. And when it's got past the 2 primary leaves, you can then transplant it in the soil that you've prepared.
Oh, wow. Now you're talking about preparing the soil now.
Yes.
Somebody's going to say, okay, now I live in the city. There's not a lot of soil around and I don't know how to get the soil. I want to start a small balcony garden. But now, how would you advise someone to actually get something like this? Because I believe that you do actually prepare something like this. What is it actually before you start telling us how to prepare something like this?
There are so many ways. It will take us 2 years of footage on how to prepare soil and different types of soil, etc. But the easiest way is wait for God to show you. If after rain, you will see things growing in a certain open area, and at other places there'll be nothing growing. Now, God is already telling you there where things are growing, and they're growing in abundance, it's good soil. So if you're going to look for soil, go do that. If there are leaves falling, and that's what I love about the suburbs, everybody puts the leaves in black plastic bags. So my son and I go and collect the black plastic bags, and Lucky Boy as well, because I see him as my son, and I throw a liter of water in, close it, and leave it in the sun. It will biodegrade. It biodegrades and becomes your compost. And if you know somebody that's got a couple of cattle, a couple of sheep, there are people in town that have got pigeons or chickens, use the chicken manure. Work that into your soil, but don't do it when you're planting because it is so strong it's going to kill the seed.
Yeah.
It'll burn it. The nitrogen is just too strong. But this is all the stuff you do in winter. God gave us in the Free State a tremendous winter so that we can prepare for a tremendous, fantastic summer.
Let's talk about now, you've basically explained the starting process.
Yes.
So I just want to know the growing process.
Yes.
I have now this in my balcony.
And they're all growing.
And they're all growing.
Yeah, they are. And you want to put them out into pots.
Yeah, what do I do now with a plant that's this big?
You then transplant this because it's going to start bolting now. So what I do is I transplant them into pots or buckets, Vascom.
Vascom?
Yeah, even Vascom. Seven Vascom moet ek maar in die kamera. They're there.
So tlapaka di Vascom.
Yes, hy only try to about what the last. Like I said, these.
Yeah, I see.
So the moment a washing basin is cracked, then they want to throw it away. It's the ideal thing to grow your plants in. Even on a balcony, on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
You can do that.
What happens to the excess? You always have like something that's still left in abundance and all that. I see you've got some preserved fruits in here. I believe this is fig, if I'm not mistaken.
Fig, yes.
Tell me about the process of making this, because now I don't know how to make this, and normally people would go to like your craft shops, and they would go to Google as well, and
they pay 90 Rand for that.
But sometimes more.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes more. Yeah, so I just want to know, how do you do this? Do you also just process it by yourself in your own home?
Yes.
And all of that.
And where do I get that knowledge?
Wait, exactly.
Kgomotso, come here, it's a secret. Please don't tell anybody.
No, I'm listening.
But I go to Google.
You go to Google?
Yes.
Yeah,
how do I make fig jam?
Amen. And there's the information actually.
But don't tell anybody. Because they're going to think, everybody thinks I'm clever. I mean, my son dried tomatoes.
Yeah.
These tomatoes are harvested in 2017. And ironically, at a supermarket here in Bloemfontein, at a shopping center, I can buy from a butcher there, the biltong. Biltong, I can buy meat, jerky, beef jerky. I can buy for 220 Rand a kilogram. But when at the same shopping center, want to buy sun-dried tomatoes, which is basically kirikwape tamati, 280 rand. Can you believe tomatoes are more expensive than meat?
Imagine.
But now I made this myself, and it's sun-dried. And now when I cook a stew, people say, but how's your stew so tasty? Because I've got the taste of tomato with without the excess water.
Yeah.
And this is, I didn't even put this in the oven. I dried it out in the sun.
So you actually have like drying
I've
panels?
got dehydrators. I built myself a solar dehydrator.
Wow.
And the fan actually comes from a computer, a desktop computer. They've got a little fan inside. And once when I renewed a cell phone contract, they gave me a small solar panel the size of my hand. But that gives enough electricity when the sun is up to turn this little fan. So it was drawing the hot air through my dehydrator. Reuse, reduce, recycle, repurpose.
Speaking of reusing, somebody like myself, I'm living in the city. You've taught me this entire process.
I'm living
in
the city.
I understand, but now I'm thinking, where do I get the water? How am I going to water my plants? How am I going to do 1, 2, 3? What about the fertilization? All of that
The obvious
stuff.
one is to harvest your rainwater. You've seen on my property that I'm inundated with JoJo tanks.
Yeah.
Different sizes, different. Whenever there's a special or this JoJo tank is leaking, I make a process of going to patch it up and make sure that it harvests my rainwater. So I can harvest up to 28,000 liters of rainwater, 28 kiloliters, which allows me on my small scale, but it's very intensive, to go for up to 4 months without water. If we have for 4 months no rain in summer, then we've all got a problem. But then I've got a backup as well. Is I reuse and repurpose the grey water. Now, grey water is what you wash with. So utlabona mutu watlapa wakala metsi and pelu yake butloko. The grey water, I then go from our showers and our taps. Our baths and our showers in the house automatically go out on any crops that have fruit above the ground. Don't give it to your potatoes, your beetroot, or your carrots, but your beans and etc. They can thrive on it. A root system is a filtration system.
Yeah.
So once you use that, it's 100%. I've had success now for 8 years.
Wow. I see you literally have 10 years of doing what you're doing. And I see you've also been working and partnering with a couple of, companies and also some, local people and local brands.
Yeah.
But now I would just like to know a little bit more about Hlalele Brothers.
Yes.
What is it? Who are they? And the Kala Tala, I don't know if I'm saying it correct. Yes, I'd like just to know a little bit about that and, your influence and your input with that.
Lucky Boy Hlalele joined me at a stage. He approached me and said he wants to come and work for me because he doesn't see any hope for school.
Lucky Boy is now the person that you've been working with now for...
The one who gave me this.
Okay.
Handed me this. And I asked him if he had a matric, which I knew the answer was going to be no because he had failed his matric. And I said, no, you've got to go back to school, but there's no ways. What happens if I can't continue supporting you and training you and you've got to go out? It's tough already. With a matric, it's difficult to get a job. With a degree, it's difficult to get.
Yeah.
But he's learned to side hustle now. He knows how to hustle. In actual fact, sometimes I send him to go and do some scouting work for me. We started working together. I think we're together 8 years now.
Wow.
And I would say that what I know he knows and what he knows I don't know yet. But when it comes to growing things, he is my right and left hand. And we work fantastically together. He's fortunate he's got youth on his side.
Oh, wow.
He's just over 30 years old now. And I'm about to side hit 60. So where I run out of the energy.
He gets in.
He falls in with the energy part.
I can see,
And we are hoping to launch with him a fantastic concept called Micro Agri Services, where he will be able to, with a vehicle and trailer, arrive at a small holding of anything from 10,000 square meters to 250 squares, to be able to do a soil analysis on the spot, and then also through a computer program, determine what compost and fertilizers are required, and then plow if the plowing is required or no-till is whatever is required. He'd be able to make sure that once he gets there and you've got Unalitsi Mungfela, when he leaves there the day later, that your 30,000 cabbage seeds have been planted in fertile soil that has been prepared.
Everyone in this country or wherever, they don't have to determine if you are rich or you're poor, because at the end we all have to eat. And then the food is so expensive, the inflation and everything. So but if you can use your hands, try to do whatever that is necessary.
Yeah.
Because food is the need.
You basically initiated taking people from the community and working with them
Yes.
and helping them build their agricultural
Yes.
entrepreneurship. I've seen images on one of the presentations you did last year of
Yes.
how you feed your chickens.
Yes.
That's a unique way of thinking. I have never in my life thought of that, especially living in a city. Would you mind just explaining that to people who don't know how you do it? Yeah.
A chicken, when it is scouting in the morning, you'll see
Yeah.
it scratching around. It's not looking for the seed. It's looking for the insect because the insect is protein.
Yeah.
So earthworms, I use them in my garden, but I don't want my chickens eating my earthworms. My earthworms are looking after my plants. And I thought, okay, but it's also very expensive to go and buy chicken feed.
Yeah.
Because even the major companies, your Country Bird and Rainbow Chickens, they retrench people because of the cost of the chicken feed. So what we do is, let's feed our chickens for free. And how do we do that? We farm with flies. So what we do is off-cut when you're cutting something and you've got a bit of meat or fish or whatever one side, you put it in a specially designed bucket, which I'm designing now. It should be able to go into mass production within the next month. And this bucket is like your dustbin. You know, in summer, your dustbin, when you open it up, you want the bok or they're crawling up. Now, this is a special bucket. It allows the fly to come in, even when it's raining. The fly to come in, smell the food, lay the eggs. The eggs then, when they hatch, they start gorging little worms. Maggots, they start gorging on the food, and then the moment they've eaten enough and they want to pupate, they start crawling up.
Yeah.
But they get funneled to a catchment area, and then you catch these up and you can feed them fresh to your chickens. Your chickens, after 3 days, will know that you are coming with them. They come running to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a poodle, like a dog coming to eat. The chickens will come to you. But also, our winters are very harsh, so I use my dehydrator. Also, that when I've got overproduction of maggots, I will then put them in hot water to stun them. Not boiling water, just hot water to stun them, and then dry them out that they look like Rice Krispies. Then I vacuum seal them, keep in a cool place, so in winter I can feed my chickens as well. So every day, because of my 10 chickens, I'll be able to hopefully get 5 to 6 eggs. So I'm getting my eggs for free, but I'm getting also very important all my manure from chickens to boost my vegetable garden.
Wow. Just wow.
And then that chicken that doesn't lay the eggs, oof, Sunday meal, Sunday lunch.
Oh, poor Mokoko.
You know, have you been to the waste landfill site?
I have,
Have you seen mokopu growing
Yeah,
there?
they
Do you know
do.
where the mokopu comes from?
From our house.
You cut a pumpkin, you took a seed out, you threw it in your dustbin. The municipality came to collect it, waste, and chucked it out on Totin. And then the seed just fell there and then they started growing. You don't need to be Thabo Olivier to grow vegetables.
That's so
Just
true.
get the seed. Take some pumpkin seed or whatever you want. Just wait for the right season. Prepare your soil and plant.
This could be a career for someone.
Yes.
Can somebody actually make money out of this?
You can make money from preparing soil for people that don't want to prepare their own soil. You can make money from doing this. You can make money from doing this. You can make money from making the buckets. You can make money from cutting eggs like this. You can make money from anything.
Yeah.
And imagine a community. You don't have to grow everything. If Kgomotso, you grow pumpkins, I
Yeah.
grow tomatoes, and our cameraman there is growing figs, we start bartering.
Yeah.
Okay, Praveen is going to cry because we're taking his VAT away because there's no VAT on
Yeah,
barter trade.
yeah.
But if you want some of my eggs, then all you do is give me a pumpkin and I'll give you 50 rands eggs.
Yeah. Oh, wow. This is an awesome story. I hope you're inspired. This is Thabo Olivier telling us his story, basically how his life revolves and is centered around agriculture. It's really amazing what our backyards can produce. All it takes is a seed, application, and some patience. That's it from today's episode. Tune in next time as we dive into the ins and outs of an agribusiness, taking it from the farm to your multicolored veggie plate. Visit our website at www.careerstv.co.za. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Careers TV, the future.